On our anniversary, my wife betrayed me openly in front of everyone. When I walked away, she laughed, certain I would swallow my pride as I always had. But that night marked the beginning of something far different. What she didn't realize was that I had already decided on a plan that would strip away her comfort, shatter her reputation, and leave her drowning in regret. We had been married 12 years, and on that evening, I truly believed we were celebrating the life we had built together. The rooftop restaurant shimmered with soft golden light, candles glowing at every table. Our closest friends and family surrounded us, dressed in their finest. A waiter tapped a glass with a spoon and lifted a toast. To Nick and Ava, 12 strong years and many more come. The applause was warm. Her smile seemed genuine, at least at first. But things changed quickly. She wandered to another table, chatting with a few colleagues she had invited at the last moment. One man I didn't recognize laughed far too loudly at her every word. Another drink came, then another, and suddenly the way they touched each other was impossible to ignore. His hand slid to her waist. Her fingers lingered on his chest. Everyone noticed. I certainly did. "Ava," I called quietly. She turned to me with a look of someone being interrupted. Then, right in front of the entire room, she leaned in and kissed the man. Not a playful peck, a long, deliberate kiss. The entire restaurant froze. Her mother gasped. My best friend's eyes widened. Even the music stopped. When she pulled away, she laughed. "Oh, Nick, don't be dramatic. It's our anniversary. You can share for once, right?" I stood there in silence, the heat of humiliation rushing through me. But instead of breaking down, I smiled. Not because I was fine, but because, in that instant, I saw exactly what needed to happen. "Enjoy your evening," I said calmly before turning toward the exit. "Come on," she called after me. "Don't be so sensitive. It's just a little fun." I didn't answer. I already knew what I would do next. I didn't return home that night. I didn't yell, argue, or even send a message. While Ava was likely sipping champagne and boasting about her antics, I checked into a quiet extended-stay suite under a different name. That was the star of my silence. For 2 days, I ignored every call and message. She sent a single text. "You're overreacting. We need to talk." I didn't respond. Instead, I met with 2 lawyers, one to handle the divorce, the other to secure my assets. The house, the cars, the investments, everything had always been in my name. Some had called it old-fashioned. Now, it was my greatest protection. By the 4th day, her tone shifted. "Nick, what's going on? Why are you ignoring me? You're acting insane." Insane? Hardly. Focused. By then, the divorce papers were already filed. Half our liquid assets had been moved into a trust. She believed I was sulking, but in truth, I was dismantling her comfort piece by piece. I also hired a private investigator. "You want dirt?" he asked. "No," I replied. "I want evidence, and it has to be flawless." By week's end, the consequences reached her. Her credit card was declined. The car she drove, leased under my name, was scheduled for repossession. That's when she stormed into my office, fury blazing. "Where the hell have you been? Why are my cards declined? What are you doing?" I looked straight into her eyes, setting boundaries, and preparing for your new life. Her mouth fell open. "You can't be serious." "I've never been more serious. That night you laughed at me, Ava. You humiliated me in front of everyone. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I didn't make a scene. But you thought I would fold like always. Now you're about to learn what silence can do." Her face went pale. For the first time, she looked afraid. When the court date arrived, I felt no nerves. Every document had been arranged with precision. I walked in steady, calm, and fully prepared. Ava appeared late, frazzled and confused. Her newly dyed hair couldn't hide the dark circles beneath her eyes. She was unraveling, and I was only getting started. She believed she still had control, but the truth was she had already lost. When her lawyer started making demands, alimony, the house, the car, and even half my company, I stayed quiet until it was my turn. Then I placed a carefully organized binder in front of the judge. Inside was everything that mattered. The prenup we signed a week before our wedding, undeniable proof of her affair, time-stamped financial records showing I alone controlled our assets, and even a recording of her own mother expressing disgust at her behavior during the anniversary dinner. The judge barely glanced at her attorney before delivering the verdict. Based on the evidence and the marital agreement, the ruling was in my favor. No alimony, no share of the business. She had 30 days to vacate the property. The house had always been mine, purchased years before we met, but I had let her fill it with her taste, her things, her identity. Now, she had just a month before it was gone. The car didn't last that long. A week later, she handed the keys to a repo agent in front of the cafe. People watched as she cried, but no one stepped in to help. I never needed to spread rumors. I only spoke the truth to family, to friends, to colleagues. A simple message each time. Thank you for celebrating with us. I appreciate your support as Ava and I part ways. That was all it took. Conversations spread on their own. Memories resurfaced. Her carefully crafted image began to collapse. 3 days after the divorce was finalized, she called me in tears. "Nick, they let me go. The board said they don't want the bad publicity." "I'm sorry to hear that." I replied evenly, "This is your fault." "No," I said, "it's the consequence of your choices." Ava had always built her identity on being the woman others envied. Beautiful, magnetic, ambitious. She liked to call herself a connector, someone who always knew the right people. But in the weeks that followed, the one thing she couldn't outrun was a truth spreading quietly. Friends stopped answering her calls. Invitations disappeared. Those who had once stood beside her at the anniversary party slowly distanced themselves. She didn't need lies working against her. The facts alone were enough. A married woman kissing another man at her own anniversary celebration and laughing about it. Everyone had seen it. Everyone had heard her words. No charm could rewrite that memory. She tried to repair her reputation. At an industry conference, dressed in a new gown, smiling for cameras, she put on her old mask. But I had already sent the event organizer a clip from that night. Her drunken toast with her arm draped around her affair partner, slurring. 12 years of marriage, and now I finally get to really enjoy myself. The video circulated quietly among the attendees. When she stepped onto the stage, the applause was thin, cold. She knew instantly, and worse, she knew they knew. Her life shrank further. The luxurious home, the club membership, the designer wardrobe, all gone. She moved into a modest 2-bedroom apartment, the sort of place she once mocked others for living in. Now she was one of them. I didn't gloat. I just let her feel the weight of being irrelevant. One night, close to midnight, she called again. I let the phone ring twice before answering. Her voice trembled. "Nick, I know I don't deserve anything, but I don't know how I ended up here. You built the staircase yourself," I told her. I just stepped aside. Silence filled the line. Then a whisper. "Please, could you do something? A recommendation, a call, anything?" "I already gave you something," I said. "What?" "Freedom." And I hung up. 3 months had passed since the divorce. 3 months since she had kissed another man in front of everyone we knew and laughed at me like I was disposable. She thought I would break quietly. Instead, she watched her life crumble piece by piece, and I hadn't even needed a push. But I wasn't finished. Ava always dreamed of building her own brand, fashion, lifestyle, a podcast. She imagined herself as a voice for women, a name in media, a leader. She even pitched a digital series with a small production company. That's when I made my final move. Through a mutual connection behind the scenes, I shared everything. Her public betrayal, her career collapse, the leaked footage, even the fact that her lover had been fired from his own company. I didn't demand anything. I simply asked, "Would you trust your brand with this?" The project was canceled the next day. Not long after, a popular relationship blog published an article, "From It Girl to Isolation, When Public Image Meets Private Scandal." Her name wasn't printed, but anyone in our circle knew who it was about. That night, she called again. I let it go to voicemail. "You win. Are you happy now?" She still didn't understand. It wasn't about winning. It was about accountability. Weeks later, We ran into each other by chance at a cafe. She looked smaller somehow, quieter, wrapped in a coat she once would have dismissed as plain. She walked toward me hesitantly. "Nick," she whispered. I nodded. "I'm not here to beg. I wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything." I studied her. No anger, no pity. "I believe you," I said, "and I honestly hope you find something better than the person you were." Her eyes watered. "You really mean that?" "Yeah," I replied, "but I'll never forget." Then I turned and walked away. That night, I poured myself a drink, not to gloat, not to celebrate, but to close the last chapter of a story I never asked to be part of. She humiliated me on what should have been the most sacred night of our marriage. But in the end, I rebuilt everything, and she was left with nothing but the memory of what she had destroyed. That, I realized, was the most fitting revenge of all.